Oh, hey guys. All right. Yeah, no, nothing going on here. So today, what we're gonna learn are more empirical data to help support our kind of common ancestry, right, Oliver? So what we're gonna do today is gonna be Hox genes. We're gonna also do embryonic development and also present genetic composition. So doesn't that sound like fun? So let's just, I guess, close this oven now, and let's get learning. All right, so one of the new things we're going to learn today is about genetic similarities, or like percentage similarities, like how much of our DNA, our genes, are similar with other animals. So I have a list of examples right here, and all of this is going to help us out to figure out how related we are to our common ancestor, or how further away, like in our cladogram, are we away from those lines. And I have a cladogram in a little bit, we'll see. So right now, we're going to have humans and chimpanzees. Anyone want to guess how much percent we share? It's not 1, it's not 5. It is actually 98.7% of DNA we share. The same genetic sequencing we as humans share with chimpanzees. What about bananas? A fruit. Completely different than a chimpanzee, which is our closest relative, which we already know. So how much would a banana have? Okay, no. Okay, this is what it is. 50%. Yeah, we share 50% of our DNA with a banana, believe it or not. And then, of course, I always had included in cats, because one of these days I'll make that cat girl. But this will actually make it a lot easier, because we share how many? We share 90% of our DNA sequences we share with cats. So as much as I love this number right here, especially for my future aspirations, it really doesn't mean nothing in the big scheme of things, because if you want to consider all the things our DNA does, remember, our DNA is genetically inheritable information that make up everything in our body. It kind of makes sense why we share so much with a cat and why we share so much with a chimpanzee. Because our DNA makes all these wonderful things inside of us. It makes our organs. Imagine, look, we have the same kind of organ system between us, chimpanzees, and cats. Basically any mammal, too. We have a digestive tract. We have a reproductive tract, respiratory, circulatory. We all have the same common components. So, of course, we're going to share a big amount of DNA, because we have the same amount of things the DNA codes and makes. Our cells, for even us and bananas, inside our cells we have organelles. Even bananas, like us, we have mitochondria. They have chloroplasts. We don't have chloroplasts because we don't perform photosynthesis, but you guys already know that. They all have a cell wall that is made out of a phospholipid bilayer. We have cytoplasm. All the things inside the cells that we learned the first month of class is what the DNA makes. So every living thing that has a cell is a cell. We're going to share some percentage of it too. All the proteins we do for macromolecules that we use for muscles. We have other macromolecules like cholesterol. We have carbohydrates. All of those are made with our DNA. And then the bone arrangements too, like we already saw with our homologous structures, and how the bat, cat, and even our hands, they're arranged the same way. We have our metacarpals, we have our phalanges. They may be in different amount of like size and shape, but it's the same thing. So that's what the DNA gene sequencing means. It's just the amount of percent we share right now, because we're comparing humans for all those three animals, how much we share with them. Even though they look like really big high numbers, it kind of does make sense, because like I just mentioned, we all make the same thing, and that's what DNA is for. It's there to code stuff. So as much as I do love these high numbers, and this is very useful for us to use to state empirical data or evidence that, well, we have a common ancestor because we share this big portion of DNA with them. When you think about it, it makes sense, because of all the things that DNA makes. So this is how we're going to use evidence to support our claim that we came from a common ancestor. Everyone came from a common ancestor because of the amount of DNA that we share together. So in the image you see right now, you have a fruit fly and also a human embryo. Essentially what Hox genes are you can see that they share similar colors, the fly and the human embryo. The Hox genes are just locations on the actual body when it's going to grow and develop that genes code for. For example, you see how on the fruit fly it's got that yellow abdomen part. That's actually the same location for the genes of the human share in common, where those sets of genes code for the growth of the abdominal, and then those are the same ones that are actually for the abdominal for the fruit fly too. So what all Hox genes are locations, like body parts that genes code for. So like the same ones that the fruit fly code for are the same ones that humans code for. That's why you can see when it's color coordinated that they share similar Hox genes from the fruit fly and the human embryo. And now that we're talking about embryos, the last part last new topic we're going to talk about today is comparing the development of embryos. So in a little bit, you're going to see an image of a variety of embryos. So right now, you see that there are 4 embryos in front of you. Which one out of the 4 can you identify as a human embryo? Alright, and here it is. I'll reveal it to you guys. It's actually the far right one. So the far right one is the human, and then we're going to go from left to right. Left is fish, reptile, bird, human. Now they all look the same. And that's another empirical evidence or data we could use to state that they all must share a common ancestor, because at the beginning of life and embryonic state, they all look similar. So if they look similar at the beginning, that is getting passed down from a common ancestor, that they all once started off looking like that. Another characteristic too that all the embryos do share are a tail, phalangetic arches, and then they also have limb buds. And then we could say that those are homologous traits that the embryos share, thus saying that if they share those homologous structures, at one point in time their common ancestor must have imprinted for those genes to do that at the embryonic state. Of course, we know when they develop and they go into adulthood, they're going to look different. So those are going to be those 3 new facts for today. Alright, there you go guys. So those are 3 new ways how to use evidence and data to support your claim of common ancestries from species. So for today's assignment, all you really need to do is just list the 5 ways you've talked about so far. It's going to be Hox genes. It's going to also be the developmental of embryos, how they develop. It's going to be the structures, both of them, the vestigial structures and the homologous structures, and then of course the last one, the percent of genes we do share with animals. So like the actual percentage in numbers. Those are the 5 ways that we could now use a cladogram, or help illustrate a cladogram, to show that there's common ancestry. So for your assignment today, you're gonna have to briefly mention how to use those 5 and a cladogram to establish that there's common ancestry. So now that is a YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe, and also here is a challenge. So the most liked comment of a new intro song I'll actually do for this upcoming weekend. So write down your favorite song you want me to do do the intro for, and then I'll actually make a intro from the most liked ones. So that's it. Go have fun, and I gotta go snipe hunting. So have fun.